First thing I like to do is give a shout out to my staff and Kevin, Dean, and Perry, the great job they do during the course of the season. You know, Perry's a new guy here, and been a seamless transition and keeping up the high standard that Dom set for the CCHA and the communication and branding, and we're just real excited that he's been able to come in and do such a great job. Obviously, it's an exciting time of the year, but for me, I don't just reflect on this weekend. I look back to really when the year began, and we kind of felt it was going to be a much more competitive season. As far as top to bottom, we knew that St. Thomas was going to make some strides. Ferris State was coming on at the end of last year, and I think we saw that this year. During the course of the season, it came down to literally the last minute of the final regular season game to crown our McNaughton Cup champion here in Mankato against an outstanding Michigan Tech team. One of the things I look at is that here we are in year 2, and we've had 6 different teams with home ice out of the 8. And Ferris State hasn't been a home ice team, but yet they've been in the CCHA semifinals. And as we know, it's just a matter of time before University of St. Thomas is in that position as well as they continue to build their program. So it has been exciting year. The playoffs are no different. The surprise for me probably was that none of the first round series went 3 games. But there was all outstanding hockey, and as has been mentioned many, many times, that the 2 teams that are playing the best are here playing in Mankato for the Mason Cup here on Saturday night. So really look forward to the game on Saturday night. As I look to the future, one of the things I look at too is that Augustana will be coming on board next year. We're excited. I speak to Garrett pretty much on a monthly basis to see how their program's coming along as they build their team. The arena's going up as we speak, and then we all saw the announcement a few months ago, University of St. Thomas with the major donor, and the announcement that they'll be building their new facility too. So a lot of good things are happening in the CCHA. I'm very proud to be a part of it, working with our outstanding coaches, athletic directors, and presidents to try to continue to move these teams forward into NCAA hockey. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions out there for Commissioner Lucia? Go ahead, Kevin.
Coach Hastings always tells a story about how when he first got here, the question he would get the most when he was just out in public is when are the Gophers coming to town? And we just got word earlier today that this is the quickest sellout now in program history. They're coming to see MSU. I just reflect maybe on where the program, from your eyes, has come from, that point in those early days to now the quickest sellout program history.
Well, I've had a bird's eye view going back to when Minnesota State became a member of the old WCHA, and to continue to watch their program grow. One of the things that always I look at is that institutional commitment, and I think that's what's really front and center. And as you talked about, it's not just about, geez, Minnesota's going to come into town so we can sell out our building. Now, the building's being sold out because they want to watch Minnesota State play. And they've been obviously one of the top teams in the country. It's been building, but when Mike walked in and took it over, he's just done a tremendous job. They've been as good as any program in the country. That was obviously evidenced a year ago when they had the Hobie Baker winner and played for the national championship. So, they're not a one-hit wonder. It's exciting for their program. I've been down a lot the last few years, and a lot of big games are being played here, and the fans are into it. They've got a lot to be proud of, and it's great to have our CCHA championship here in a sold-out environment. The same was true last year, and I think one of the things that the athletic directors made a decision on these semifinals and finals to go to one-game semifinal, one-game championships, and I think that certainly adds to the excitement for the fans. You don't get the ticket fatigue of 3 straight weekends, and maybe 2 out of 3 for 2 straight weekends, and then a one-game championship. Probably a little bit less wear and tear on the players as well. So I think this format has really worked well for our league, and it's made it exciting in these one-and-done type situations, and it's really exciting for the fans to come in knowing that you're going to pack the building for one game and have a great environment of college hockey.
Kevin again?
Yep. The close nature of the league, I think last year we saw MSU had such a dominant team. It was kind of clear all season that they were likely going to win the McNaughton, but just the close nature of this season where the standings have been so tight. I think only 27 points separate MSU and Lake State. I think MSU was maybe 27 points out of fourth place last year. So has that been entertaining to watch, and do you think made for just an overall great second season here?
Well, it really has, and you look at the teams and in the conference, it was so much more competitive this year. I'm not at a game every weekend, but if I'm not at a game, I'm watching on Flow multiple games on a Friday and Saturday night, and to watch these teams, how much they've grown during the course of the year. I'll use University of St. Thomas as a great example, really in year 2 of their program, where they were at the start of the year to where they were at the end. Even Minnesota State, I mean, they had to replace a lot of outstanding players. And to watch them grow from the first half of the year to the second half of the year, Ranciere took control of the net, and then they kind of took off there the second half of the season. Same with Northern. I know that, for me, it's a little bit special, but, both Grant and Mike were former assistants for me, quality people, quality family guys, and, all the coaches are outstanding in our league. But, Northern, same way, that they had their struggles during the course of the season. They were picked pretty high in the league, and talking to Grant the last month, he was just hoping to get to, wasn't too worried about whether they're going to get home, finish 4th, 5th, 6th. He really didn't care. He just wanted them playing well. And, for them to go down at the last weekend and to sweep Bowling Green to get home ice. And not only was first place decided, but we still had 3 teams that were in the fight for that last home ice spot. And that's what makes it exciting when you have those meaningful games, when you get deep into February, that not just for first place, but 3rd, 4th, 5th. The Bowling Green, I think going into last weekend, was locked into 3rd, and Lake Superior State was locked into 8th. Other than that, there was a lot of spots up for grabs, and that's a tribute to the teams and the coaches that continued to battle during the course of the season. And as we talked about, the 2 teams that really were hot at the end are playing for this Mason Cup.
You had 2 teams in the NCAA tournament last year. You're for sure going to have 2 this year, maybe a 3rd, depending if things get kind of weird. But do you think that, the hope is going forward that 3, 4, that can be something that you guys can maybe have every year or more years? Well,
every year is a little bit different. I mean, Michigan Tech has had an outstanding season. Their success non-conference, I mean, Alaska's knocking on the door to get in. They went up to Alaska and swept. They beat BU. They beat Michigan State in the Great Lakes. So they've had some really big non-conference wins, and we've talked about that. With the coaches, with the athletic directors, that non-conference record is so important if you're going to, have the ability to make the NCAA tournament without the automatic bid. So Michigan Tech put themselves in a great spot, and obviously deserving to have, the Player of the Year. They have a Hobie Baker finalist in Blake Pitola. Joe was the Coach of the Year. They had a terrific year, and even though they were upset in the semifinals, and I don't know how. Once you get to the semis and those one game shots, it's not really an upset. They played well enough to win, but Northern was better on that given night. But now they can practice and rest up and wait for Sunday night, knowing that they're into the NCAA tournament. The game tomorrow, they're playing for the automatic bid. It's a big game for both programs. There is still a pretty good chance that Minnesota State could get in if they were to lose on Saturday, but we all know, you heard Ryan Sandlin talk about, they just want to take care of their own business and not have to rely on anybody else. So, I've looked at the scenarios, kind of have a good idea, some games tonight, hopefully they go our way, so we do have a chance to get 3 teams in, possibly. But at the same time, even getting 2 out of our 8 is a pretty good accomplishment if we can continually do it on a year in and year out basis, and then be pushing for that 3rd team as we move forward. Because you look at a scenario, Hockey East. I mean, right now they're only guaranteed 1 team in, and that's BU. And there's a lot of good hockey programs in Hockey East, and across the country, college hockey has become so much more competitive over the last number of years. You don't have to be a BCS program to have a really successful college hockey program, and that's what makes it great. Get in the NCAA tournament, it's one and done, just like watching a couple of those basketball upsets yesterday. So the whole goal is just to get in, and then you have to get hot for 4 games, and then you can win it. So I'm just looking forward to a really good game tomorrow. I hope both teams play their A game, because that's what you want to have at the end of the year. You want to play your best at the end, and obviously these two teams are doing that, and I think it's just going to be a great game tomorrow. And whoever wins knows they're in, and if Northern loses, they know their season's over. If Minnesota State doesn't win, they still will have an outside chance, but pretty much by game time, they're going to have a pretty good idea whether that's even the case or not, or the only chance is to win. But I'm really proud of both programs, really proud of the coaches and the job they've done in bringing their teams along during the course of the season.